Hello everybody, I'm Cece Rose. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. Today we are going to be talking about how to pick the right partner for you. I decided to do this YouTube video based on my past history of dating and the fact that quite literally almost everyone that I interact with, that I have a relationship with in my life, is struggling with love for whatever reason. I think that a lot of people are sometimes in a rut and a cyclical pattern of choosing bad people that are just not compatible with them, that just are not the perfect fit for them, of also just being in toxic relationships to the point where they actually have this limiting belief that they have developed based on their own choices that the perfect person is not out there for them, that maybe they don't even believe in soulmates. Their whole entire faith in actual love has been diminished based on, unfortunately enough, their own choices. Your life is determined by a continuum of choices. So first and foremost, what we have to understand is that the reason that a lot of things maybe aren't going your way in terms of a relationship do originate from you. So the reason that you're in another toxic relationship for the 5th time in 2 years is because you are choosing those partners, you are gravitating towards them, you are magnetized towards them, and you're also feeling the fire. Because in this life, we do not attract things that we are not in harmony with. And that's on some self-awareness, because I also used to be relatively toxic in relationships, and I broke the pattern by essentially adopting this introspective way of looking at myself and getting rid of those things that people would deem toxic enough to attract someone that wasn't. First and foremost, you need to respect yourself. I know that this is a reoccurring theme. Holding a high value for yourself is honestly a currency. People will start to notice that you are respecting yourself, that you are upholding boundaries, and they will just start to treat you differently. There's a certain level of respect that that person essentially demands just with their energy when they have become a healthy-minded person with a good self-perception and understands that there is boundaries to exercise and that you hold more value than being disrespected or walked all over or being talked to a certain way. So you really need to look at yourself in the mirror. And I know that this is extremely cliche, but there's a reason that it's so cliche. People say it all the time. It's actually literally a life lesson to learn to love yourself, because no one is going to be able to love you the adequate way that you need them to love you. And you are also not going to be able to love that other person if you don't work on actually genuinely loving yourself. Things that stem from not loving yourself: being extremely insecure, having high anxiety, being extremely jealous, being very nitpicky, being a lot harder on other individuals, being very naggy, being irritable and getting annoyed very easily with your partner. You didn't take the time to look within. People that are like that have a disruptive mood for a reason. They did not take the time to actually focus on themselves to be solid enough to be with another individual. So those are the people with very negative energy, and if that is you, that's okay, because you could change that. I'm sure that if that is you, you have had a continuum of really toxic relationships. So that is why, first and foremost, that is my number one rule when you're looking to find a partner. Number 2, pay attention to this person who is a potential relationship for you. How easily do they get in a bad mood? Do they have a regulated nervous system? Are they going to lose it over any little tiny incidents that happens in their life? Do they let their entire day get ruined if the dog pees in the living room? Do they let a bad mood over a trivial instance carry throughout the day? Pay attention to how your potential partner regulates. It is so important that the person that you're with has a grasp on their temperament. Obviously, all this stuff is extremely subjective. If you want someone who has anger issues, then go off. This is for people that want to be with healthy people. People that have anger issues are not mentally healthy. They're actually not even mentally stable. They are so encompassed with the anger that they actually have zero self-awareness. So a main variable in a healthy mind is self-awareness. And trust me, you do not want a partner that has anger issues and no self-awareness. That type of behavior and prosperity leads to further complications in terms of, first of all, ruining your mood because energy transfers, and second of all, just being a detriment to your overall relationship. You are not going to be in a good mood around this person as often as you should be. You're also, because of that, not going to be as motivated as you probably should be, and you're not going to get enough things done. And I have observed that everyone that I know that is with someone who has anger issues is completely unhappy. So this is based off of my research, my personal research. Secondly, pay attention to how this person talks to you. This one you would think goes without saying, but even I have been in relationships where I was verbally just not respected. And of course I was younger because I did not let that shit bleed into my 20s. But you really need to understand that, and I do feel like I need to say this, people need to understand that just because you're in a relationship does not mean at all that anyone should be calling you a name, that anyone should be insulting your intelligence, that anyone should act annoyed with you, or that you're a bother to them. If people exhibit this behavior, then they're just toxic people. It's not normal. I used to have a boyfriend a long time ago that would call me a bitch all the time, and he would be extremely mean to me. And when I was younger, I just dealt with it because I was just like, well, this is my boyfriend, what am I gonna do? And eventually I was like, you know what, no, this actually isn't normal whatsoever at all. And I would never ever call me one name and I'm gone. Call me one name and I'm walking. I would never deal with that. It's so disrespectful. It's an insult to your value as a person, and you should just straight up never tolerate it. And why would you tolerate it? Would you let a friend talk to you like that? Would you let a friend disrespect you to your face? Would you let a friend make you feel like you were nothing? No. Let that person go. That person is not for you. Number 3, stay away from the people that are extremely controlling. Those people are extremely insecure, and sometimes the people that are accusing you of doing something are actually going behind your back and they're doing it, and that's why their perspective of you is, well, why wouldn't this person do exactly what I'm doing? That is sometimes the instance, and not always. Sometimes the person is quite literally just not happy with themselves and they need to try to control your every move in hopes that they can control your whole life. I was also in a relationship where the person that I was with was very controlling. In his mind, he kind of just thought that it was a healthy way to go about a relationship, is making sure that he has most of the controls, and hoping that I abide to whatever he wants me to do at the time. But essentially, that is not love in its essence anyway. When you choose to be with somebody, you don't want to choose them and then say, okay, I choose you only if you stop doing this, only if you stop doing this, only if you stop. No. You need to accept someone in the raw form for exactly who they are. Because if you get with someone and you decide, okay, well, I will be with this person, but this has to change. If you try to change somebody, there will be underlying resentment for the person on your end, and there's underlying resentment for the person that you're trying to control. There's already a disruption in the energies between you two, and I guarantee that it will never work. Number 4, pay attention to little instances where this person tries to toxically and tactfully make you jealous. There are so many juvenile people out there. I've been in a couple different instances where people have tried to make me jealous. It's just blatantly obvious to me. The people that try to purposely make you jealous are the people that are extremely insecure and need that validation that you like them, hopefully as much as they think you do. And to me, it's extremely childish. I literally act like I could give a fuck less because I'm not going to entertain when someone is trying to get a negative emotion out of me. I literally act like I don't give a fuck because number 1, I don't, and number 2, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. When you're looking for a potential partner, make sure that you are looking at the signs. In instances of things that they say that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable or a little inadequate, make sure that you do not entertain that at all. That person is extremely toxic. Number 5, pay attention to your communication styles with the two of you. My sister was with someone who texted her very seldom, here and there. They were barely texting throughout the day, and it bothered her, and she wanted him to text her more, and he basically just said, I have nothing to talk about, I have nothing to say. This is the thing. People think that they have to stop talking to someone or break up with someone strictly because of cheating. No. If my needs and your needs are completely different, and you are a type A person and I am a type B person, and I do need that attention, which I'm not like that, but my sister is, and I'm not getting that for you, and I'm not feeling fulfilled in that way, and you're just completely happy going about your day every single day without communicating with me at all, if I am that type of person that needs that, I don't think I should be with you. It is just that simple. It's so cut and dry. People try to complicate things. People think, okay, well, maybe we don't have to talk every day, even though it bothers me on the inside, so my energy is going to be disrupted. People think that because that person that has a completely different communication style with them is a good person, then they should stay with them. If someone is not giving you exactly what you need, there are 7 billion people on this earth for a reason. Do not operate with a lack mindset. It can be something as simple as your man or your girlfriend does not want to text you at all throughout the day. It can be that. It can be the reason that you leave them if it bothers you enough. People think that love is hard, and quite literally all you have to do is pay attention to the signs. It's not that difficult. If you have a partner and you have specific needs and that partner is just not meeting your needs, then that's just not your partner. If you have a partner who likes to drink and do drugs all the time and you don't, that person's not for you. If you have a person who wants to be polygamous and you want to be monogamous, then that person's not for you. There are a reason that there is disruptive energies between the two of you. It's quite literally because this person is not for you. Like, when things are for you, they're easy. If you just go through your life ignoring the signs, you are always going to be choosing a path that is not for you. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that people take back people that have cheated on them. What the fuck is going on? I have done this when I was younger. I was about 20 years old. Somebody that I was with that I was not compatible with at all because he liked to sit at home and play video games for 20 hours of the day ended up cheating on me. I had a suspicion that he cheated on me, and I found out 1 year later that that person cheated on me, and I left even though we had spent an entire year together without me knowing. It didn't matter to me. If someone cheats on you, you need to uphold enough self-respect to leave. Absolutely baffling to me that people end up dealing with that, because what usually happens again, patterns are repeated. That person has already disrespected you and that person has already gotten away with doing you wrong, and you decided to let them back in again. So the probability of them doing it in the future is extremely high. They know that they can get away with it. Number 6, pay attention to how driven this individual is. Is this individual content with not working very hard, not making much money, not being very disciplined, not being very motivated? This also coincides to what are they eating? Do they work out? Do they take care of their body? Do they love themselves enough to nourish themselves the way that they should? This all encapsulates someone who is motivated, who is disciplined, who has a bit of structure in their life, innately a ambitious individual. It's very hard to be with someone who isn't. It's hard to be with someone who doesn't really want to work, who wakes up late, who doesn't have many priorities in their life, because you are a completely different archetype of person than they are. And because of that energy, there is an instance where you could motivate that person, of course, and you can try, but if it doesn't work and it's been an ongoing battle of trying to get this person to be a bit more ambitious, to be a bit more disciplined, that person is not the person for you. Number 7, pay attention to if this person lies to you. If this person lies to you, even over something that is extremely trivial, pay attention to that, because that person may just be a pathological liar. Say it's a story that someone is telling and you're wondering if the person's ex-girlfriend was there, and the individual says that his ex-girlfriend wasn't there, but she was. Even though this might be a trivial lie, this to me is more of a precursor to someone who lies extremely often. If you are lying about small things that in hindsight probably don't matter, then you are also most likely lying about big things too. This is something that I actually used to do when I was relatively toxic in relationships. I would lie to save the person's feelings. I would assess the situation, know that that person was probably going to be upset if I told them the truth, and I would alter my response based on that. The reason that that is not a great way to go, the reason that that is an unhealthy mechanism, is because you never establish a trustworthy ground with that person, and you are constantly questioning if what they are saying is real or not, which essentially ends up creating a very confusing and unsound relationship. You don't want to be with someone who's lying to you about the trivial things, and you sure as fuck don't want to be with someone who's lying to you about the big things, so you really need to pay attention to that. Another reason why that's a huge deal is because you are dealing with someone who is quite literally inauthentic to themselves, and you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who has a problem with actual authenticity. That is a huge red flag. Lying is a terrible characteristic to have in a human being, and it's a really bad characteristic to have in a partner. Number 8, pay attention to how innately this person is actually listening to you. How much do they pay attention when you open your mouth? Are they listening to you passively, like they could give a shit? Or are they actually really listening to you and engaging in the things that you have to say? I will tell you guys a hilarious story. So this happened about 2 years ago. I was seeing this guy. We were not serious at all. He was over at my house at one point, and I was trying to tell him about a video that I saw online, and I started talking, and maybe 20 seconds after I started talking, the guy said, "I don't care." And I said, "What?" And he said, "I don't know, I just don't care." And I said, "You don't care about what the fuck is coming out of my mouth?" And he was like, "I just don't care about the story." And I said, "Then I don't care about you, get out." I don't want someone, and you don't want someone who looks at you and doesn't care about the things that are coming out of your mouth, who looks at you and doesn't care about the things that you have to say. You have very important things to say, whether it be talking about a video that you saw online, talking about the Declaration of Independence, or talking about a fucking piece of lint. I don't care what it is. You better actually listen to me and not listen passively and not act like you don't care and not look off into the distance and have no connection with me when I'm talking to you, looking in your face. You need to have some respect when someone verbalizes something to you in a relationship. When I was younger, I was also with someone who was an actual space cadet, unfortunately enough, and when I would talk to him, he would literally be off in a completely different world, looking all over the place. And I am just an intellectual, and I love to talk, and I like to have deep conversations, and I simply couldn't with this person, and it just didn't work out. It does not work out. You need to make sure that your partner is the type of person that is actually engaged in conversation. And even if they don't care, please, for the love of God, act like you do, because it's a form of consideration, and consideration is one of the highest forms of love. Number 9, pay attention to the relationships that this person has with other people in their life. Do they respect their mom? Do they respect their dad? Do they try to make things work with their siblings? Do they have a decent, okay amount of friends? Are they a healthy person when it comes to relationships? Do they care about the people in their lives that aren't just you? How are they treating people, period? It's a very important thing to observe in an individual because it's very telling of their character. There is a reason that certain people don't have good relationships with their family, and sometimes it has nothing to do with them, but in instances where you can tell that their family cares about them and they might be the common denominator, or where you can tell that they may not have friends for a reason because they are not a good friend themselves. If someone is not a good friend, if someone is not a good father, if someone is not a good mother, what makes you think they'll be a good partner? Understand the connection of their relationship with other people in their life and their relationship with you. Make sure that this person has some sympathetic bone in their body. I have been with people that throughout my history of dating, I am quite literally a serial dater, it seems, but I've learned a lot of lessons. I've never been in a healthier relationship than I am right now, which is why I feel adequate enough to make this video for you. I've been with people that were extremely unsympathetic. They didn't care really much about animals. They didn't care about hurting people's feelings. You have to be careful with people who lack sympathy because that's a textbook sociopath. You also need to think of the longevity of the relationship. Do you want to be in a relationship with someone who is inconsiderate, who has no sympathy, who finds it hard to relate to other people and procreate with them? Not a good look. And having kids and raising them in this world is one of the most important things that you will ever do in this life, but it's secondary to picking the right partner. When you're with the right partner, things will flow very easily. You guys will notice you have the same communication style. You'll also notice you have this connectivity that's very special, and you'll notice that the chemistry with you two is very organic. You'll start to notice that you're not very irritable with this person. That person is very patient with you. You'll start to exhibit patience. You'll start to exhibit kindness. Just like that Bible verse says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. Like, these things are actually very important. You'll start to notice that the relationship is easy. You'll also start to notice that you're more motivated. You start to notice that this person is also a catalyst as to why you want to be better, why you want to strive for more, why you want to be more ambitious, why you want to start a business, why you want to do all these things that you set out to do that you could never do when you were in another relationship with someone who was maybe toxic and dead weight, and it will push you probably farther than you could ever push yourself. So pay attention to the signs. If you feel like there's not a lot of chemistry, if your needs are not being met, if you feel relatively disrespected, if you feel like this person is toxic and has anger issues, if you feel like this person never listens to you, feel like this person has a bad work ethic and has no ambition, if you feel like this person's super judgmental, mean, lazy, whatever it is that is not on your wavelength, that does not positively serve your energy, bye. Don't allow cheating to be the only reason that you're leaving someone, because when you decide to stay with a person that is not a fit for you, you end up in the tumultuous relationships, you end up in toxic relationships, you end up not actually being fulfilled, and you deserve to be fulfilled. There are as many people as there are on this earth for a reason. Your soulmate is probably not in your hometown. I'm sorry to say this. So venture out, see what the world has to offer. Be picky because you deserve it. If you're operating authentically and you're getting rid of things that are not on your wavelength, you will find the right person for you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and until next time.